I was doing a job a couple years ago in Columbus. I opened a show for Tommy Emmanuel, and somebody asked Tommy, we were bullshitting backstage, and one of the people asked Tommy, "Do you ever think about retiring?" And Tommy said, "From what?" You know,
what, my passion, my dream?
Okay.
And we're live. Andy Frasco's Old Stadium Podcast. Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Better than you.
I'm having fun.
Are you?
Crying. Andy Frasco Old Stadium Podcast. We got Nick Gerlach. We got our producer, Neil, showed up to work today, everyone. Wow. Unbelievable. Wow. What a beautiful.
He wasn't in Bali or something.
No, you weren't in Bali or Indonesia. Where the f*** you been? Yo, big show tonight. Jorma from Hot Tuna and Jefferson Airplane. Why are all the guys who've lived crazy lives have the best story?
Well, what do you mean? You just answered your own question.
I know. It's a joke.
You mean why are all the older people more interesting?
Yeah.
Because everything was more interesting in the 60s back then.
God.
They didn't have internet, so myth can be real. Everything was just it wasn't so easy to access. Documentaries about musicians from this time are going to be the most boring shit you've ever seen in your life.
What? From like
it was
the Harry 2006.
Styles, yeah, the Harry Styles documentary in 2075 is going to be a waste of time. It's not Harry Styles' fault. It's because he grew up in a time when everybody's stuff is already out there. You can just piece together Instagram reels.
Wonder what our documentary is going to be like. It was 2006.
Yeah. 2006. We didn't know each other then. Well, you weren't even born yet.
No, I'm talking about my band.
Oh.
They drank again. The documentary is called They Kept Drinking.
Yeah, it took them way too long to go to Alcoholics Anonymous.
I did that Dopey podcast. You know Dopey?
I don't know.
This guy is cool.
Though.
It's about, he's sober. And
I'm out.
He was pretty funny. He did Jamie Lee Curtis right before he interviewed me.
I love her.
She's awesome. But he told me I should go to he's like the philosophical stuff of AA is something I could get into.
I don't really like it because it's too religious.
It is a little gaudy to me.
So I'm out.
But it's
if that works for you, that's fine. Just personally for me, no.
Yeah.
Also, I don't want to quit drinking.
I don't either. It sounds fun.
No, it's stupid. What do you mean? You're gonna be sober all the time?
No, he said you do it for the learning. You don't do it for
learning about what?
I don't know. It's like it was hard to explain because I haven't been to it. But he said you learn these things of purpose.
I think you could. I don't know. Whatever. Everybody's got their own opinion on that.
Anyway, we got you.
I don't know enough about it to. I just
Neil's
have
just laughing. I was like, "What the?"
I've just heard conflicting.
What do you think about this, Neil?
About the AA?
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it either.
Exactly. None of us know about AA.
No interest.
All of us were hungover as yesterday, so
Yeah,
we don't know
you're
anything
right.
about AA.
You're right. All right. Enjoy Jorma.
Jorma, you're my host.
You're my best friend. You're my best friend, Nick.
Okay.
Even though we don't talk anymore, you don't like me. He doesn't talk to me anymore.
Actually, I don't talk to you because I do like you. And I know that you don't want to be bothered all the time when you're in the road with 8,000 things going on.
Oh, my God. You do understand me.
Yeah, what the hell? I know how you are at 8 in the morning on the road. I don't feel like texting you.
Enjoy Jorma.
If you want to talk to me, you text me when you're on the road, and I'll talk to you. It's called awareness.
Our first fight.
How is this a fight?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'm saying other people need to leave
Is
you
everything
alone.
okay? You're a little feisty today.
No, I'm just saying you're misunderstanding me, and I hate being misunderstood.
Well, I'll always.
It's called leaving someone alone and giving them space. Maybe some of your other friends and learn from me about it. I don't know. I'm not even calling anyone out specifically.
Enjoy Jorma, guys, and we're gonna have a great day. And Nick's gonna come to lunch with us.
I'm kidding.
Right?
Where are we gonna go? I don't want to go to a salad place.
No. Okay, let's go. Let's eat something good. Let's go get fajitas or something.
Oh my God, I'm in.
Fajitas. Let's get fajitas. All right, bye.
Hey guys, it's Andy, and I want to talk a little bit about Volume.com. Yes, Volume.com, our sugar daddy. Yes, our sponsor, and we are doing a only Frasco subscription for $5 a month. We're gonna have extended videos of the podcast. You're gonna have a live stream once a month of the band. You're gonna have live streams of us making the new record. So head over to volume.com/Andy Frasco. Subscribe. It's only $5. I got a cup of coffee today. It was $7.50. You could just spend one cup of coffee and get all the Frasco you want. So head over to volume.com/Andy Frasco and subscribe. Support your guys. Maybe I'll even pay Nick more. You never know. Wow. We got one of the real legends on the show tonight. Jorma, how you doing today?
You know, pretty darn good considering how old and decrepit I am.
Damn.
I was going to ask, that's my first question. What's, you've abused your body like all of us on the road, being in the band and stuff. What's the
Of course.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of years to reconstitute things, but yeah, you know, back in the day, who even thought about healthy living?
Right.
Wasn't even a thing.
What do you think the most unhealthy year you ever had?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me think. Honestly, the most unhealthy years would probably have been of all things, would probably have been in the early 90s.
Why?
You know, just discovered another garden of earthly delights that was more debilitating.
Oh, what, heroin?
Something like that.
I wasn't expecting 90s. I was expecting 68.
Yeah,
or
what
something.
were the drugs like in the 60s?
Oh
Like, what
God,
you
we were,
doing?
you know, back in the 60s, I guess yeah, speed was pretty popular with most of the bands, but in our circles, they're really hell, you know, I don't think anybody even did cocaine until Monterey Pop, and we could thank Owsley for that. Thanks, Bear. Love you, brother.
Thanks for ruining the next 15 years of my life.
Yeah.
What's the difference between working on speed and working on cocaine?
Well, it's you sort of, you know, being younger allows you, I think, to do that kind of stuff, and I guess that's an interesting question, actually. I guess you just have to adapt to the environment. You know, it's been a long time, so it's hard to physically have any of that kind of recall. But you know, it's like, you know, thinking back at it after all these years, it's ridiculous, really. But that's just how it was. It was like the job required it. You know.
Right. What was the touring like back in the? You know, we're touring now, but it feels like travel was got to have been a lot harder in the 60s.
No Google Maps.
Sure. So, you know, one of the questions that folks of my era get is they talked about, wow, it must have really been great with the tour buses and the partying and all that kind of stuff. And there was a lot of partying, but nobody had a tour bus back in those
No.
days.
Right.
I mean, when the airplane first went on the road, we didn't even rent cars. We just flew to whatever the gig was and find some hapless soul that would allow us to couch surf for a night. I mean, you know,
Wild.
it's hard to think back with stuff like that, but it was so. Of course, we're a lot younger back then too. But yeah, I mean, it was. We just didn't have all the so-called amenities we've come to expect. So there were no tour buses. When we finally got a credit card, so you could rent a car, because you can't rent a car without a credit card.
Right.
It was like, wow, I'm getting a Ford LTD wagon.
Yeah, I know. I hear that. I mean, like, you know, we've been in a band for 15 years. You know, we've done the van thing and just kind of
Sure.
grinding in, living on people's couches and living on
You know the deal.
ecstasy and cocaine, and you know, it's
Yeah.
like you don't remember anything because it happened so fast. Do you
Yeah.
regret not remembering anything because it was just such a big blur, or did you enjoy
You
those
know,
times of your life?
I guess I think for the most part I enjoyed them, and I guess if I for some reason I decided I need to remember them in more detail, it would be because I'm going to write another book about it. It would be nice to remember all that stuff. I actually am going to write another book, and I'm going to see what I can remember about that. Talk to some of my friends and stuff. But I mean, here's the deal. I mean, look, you know, you've alluded to being on the road yourself, so you know what the deal is. There's nothing new under the sun. You know, you know, in the beginning when you go out because you're really young, it's all such a blast anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, the fact that you just had to borrow money to get a Happy Meal doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to explain. Like, you know, what was San Francisco? You were in San Francisco right when everything was going on. Did you see it?
Yeah.
You were there actually a couple years before, right? Did you see the boom? Did you feel the boom, or were you on tour?
So I moved into San Francisco during the boom. See, I went out to California in '62 to go to the University of Santa Clara, which I did for a number of reasons, not the least of which was to avoid the draft.
Yeah.
Um,
All right.
but and then I met Cantner, of course. You know, had I Cantner dropped out of Santa Clara, so it was very fortuitous for me. Had I not gone to Santa Clara, the Jefferson Airplane would not have existed. You know, but
Wild.
kind of hard to. It's funny to think about a band like that basically being spawned by a Catholic university. But
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
but anyhow, yeah. So San Francisco was always like the holy grail. So as soon as the band started, you know, Paul had already moved to San Francisco. I got out of San Jose as quickly as I could, and I was just talking to one of my friends about this recently. I had an apartment on Divisadero Street, about 2 blocks away from the Fillmore.
Yeah.
There's a third floor walk up with a garage in San Francisco, $90 a month.
Wow.
Oh my God! Now all the tech those tech kids made it $10,000 a month. Those
You couldn't
pieces
even
of
get a parking spot. for
Oh
that
no,
now.
it's ridiculous, and I just, you know, but of course, I mean, listen, it was a long time ago. It was a simpler time, and I was talking to, you know, in a normal world, I'd be a great grandfather, but in this one, I've got a 19-year-old daughter and a 30-year-old son, and I talk to the kids, and I use the term kids really loosely, and I go, you know, everybody's got their time,
right.
and that's how life is. But I gotta say that there was a lot of fun and exciting things happen in my time. Some things that weren't so much fun too, but basically it was an exciting time to be alive because you know, especially in San Francisco, almost anything seemed possible.
Right. And you know, it's like I was thinking about that. Like, you know, what a life. Before that, what you worked, your parents were diplomats, or what was? And you were moving around in the Philippines and Pakistan and stuff.
Yeah, my dad was in the Foreign Service, so we moved around a lot. He like my dad was a World War II vet, and when he got out of the army, I mean the Navy. He stayed in the Navy actually until I guess 47 or something. He wound up in Korea for some reason, can't remember. But anyway, when he got out of the service, he immediately started working for the Department of Labor and later on for the State Department. So my family was like a, you know, was like a government family all my life, and that's just how it was, you know. And so a lot of the things that sort of like cropped up, the opportunities that cropped up in my life were just was beyond disgusting to my father. You know, I mean,
That's what I was going to
we
ask. Like,
you know, on
such-
those rare occasions we get together for a Kaukonen family dinner, it was not a whole lot of fun. But the flip side of that coin, which is so funny, is that when I quit the Jefferson Airplane to do Hot Tuna full time with Jack, my father called me up and he goes, well, son, have you thought about this seriously? Because you have a good job now. And I thought, am I related to this guy?
The tables have turned.
you know what? My parents, I think my parents did the same thing. Once they saw success in my musical career, their tune changed about what career I was doing. Maybe he saw success in you and then said, whoa, why f- up a good thing?
Yeah.
So why f- up a good thing? What was in your head to get to leave them?
Well, I think that I guess the simple answer is that we kind of just aged out of it. And I remember a couple years ago, I was on a Zoom meeting with Grace, and we were doing something and stuff, and we had some dead air time waiting for one of the overpriced lawyers to show up or something like that. And she was going, and then she said, you know, we never really talked about why you quit the band. And I said, well, you know, Grace, if I had to do it over again, because I just quit showing up. I mean, when I quit the band, I was just disappeared.
Yeah.
I said I would have done it in a more adult way. We would have had at least one farewell tour.
Right.
But the simple answer was it just made sense to me at the time.
Yeah, and you know, first off, you rule.
The idea of no call, no showing Jefferson Airplane is one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. That's so. How long did it take until I want to go back to, maybe the reason why you felt comfortable traveling in a van because you were traveling your whole life as a kid, maybe.
Sure.
So
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I never, because I'd really essentially traveled most of my life. it never bothered me ever. The
Yeah.
touring never bothered me ever. Now, and and to be honest with you, even though like I'm sitting here in this little alcove in Southeast Ohio, and in a couple weeks I'm getting ready to go on the road again. I love going on the road. I also love being home, but I'm totally comfortable on the road. I
Yeah.
really am.
Yeah. It's amazing how, like you said, the travel doesn't bother us because it was just what we're used to. And like, it's the
Yeah.
little thing. Like if you're going to be pissed off about the travel, do not be a traveling musician.
it's most
you
of the
know?
job.
Like that's 3/4 the job. I get high going to a different town and
Wow.
eating the same happy meal, you
Yeah,
know?
but
I
it
don't
is a
mind.
little different.
Yeah.
But it's a little different. Yeah.
So we're I guess I may have to close my chihuahua out. We'll see. Quiet down there, buddy.
We'll interview him too.
Yeah, so we're thinking about I've got a bus tour coming up later on in the year, and it's probably going to be quote unquote the last bus tour. Now, as soon as you say stuff like that, people go, "You're retiring from touring," and the answer is no. But I mean, if you've toured with a bus, if that was part of your thing, how friggin' expensive the things are.
And they're just getting more and more expensive, which is bullshit.
and it's beyond, and with the fuel prices and stuff.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is I really like to drive. Let's get back to those Ford LTD wagons. I really like to drive, and you get to see stuff. You can stop whenever you want. Now it is true that you can't do back-to-back gigs 500 miles apart because
No.
that's crazy. But
You're 85 years
yeah,
old, Jorma,
so
chill.
That's something else too. Like my doctor said, I just had a checkup recently, and he goes, or she goes. I have a lady doctor. She goes, "Jorma, you owe your mom and dad a gratitude for your genetics." And I go, "You're absolutely right."
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 85 years old. So far, so good.
Yeah, and well, goes back to my first question. The fountain of youth is not giving up and just keep going, right?
Yeah. It's like I was doing a job a couple years ago in Columbus. I opened a show for Tommy Emmanuel, and somebody asked Tommy, we were bullshitting backstage, and one of the people asked Tommy, "Do you ever think about retiring?" And Tommy said, "From what?"
What, my passion, my dream?
And it's like I feel pretty much the same way. It's just like as long as I can bring the quality to the stage that is important to me, I see no reason not to do it.
Quick break from the interview. I want to talk about our lovely sponsor, Gardenista. Gardenista is the freshest, most delicious, ready-to-serve cocktail, and it's unlike anything you ever tasted. It really isn't. It's really nice, actually. It's made with natural ingredients, green herbs, ginger, lime juice, organic cane sugar. I didn't know that it had organic cane sugar. That's what I tasted in it.
I love the jalapeno.
The jalapeno is nice. A subtle kick of perfectly balanced with premium spirits, tequila, vodka, or bourbon. You could pick between these green juices having tequila, vodka, or bourbon, which is pretty sick. My favorite is the vodka one. It feels good with the spice. Tequila's good.
And the tequila is my favorite.
Yeah. And it's only 98 calories. Damn, I didn't know that. It's only 98 calories?
For serving, yeah.
Oh, a little skinny bitch over here. Yes, bitch. I'm a little skinny bitch when I drink Gardenista. It's 98 calories per serving and 15% alcohol. ABV's alcohol?
Alcohol by volume.
Wow, that's strong drink. No wonder. I normally pull it out when I have those 3 a.m. parties after the bars. And it's bomb. And it's kind of like a nice talking. Like you feel like I put some ice in it, and it's a nice conversational piece. So you could order it at their shop, drinkgardenista.com. And for listeners of the World Saving Podcast, please use the code Frasco for 20 to get 20% off your first order. That's Frasco, the word for FOR 20. I love this. I know you will too. And Jason, who runs the company, is just a great guy. And
That's not what he said to say.
He said, he told us to say. Also, my best friend Jason has a huge hog, and that's true. So grab Gardenista and let them know Frasco and Jason's huge hog sent you. All right, goodbye. Enjoy the interview.
I want to go back one more time to your relationship with your parents. Your dad being a World War II vet and you
Yep.
dodging the draft. How is
That was
that?
me.
What type of dynamic was that between your dad and you? Like the thing like, oh, you
Oh, it
pussy,
was-
come on, join
It
the
was
war.
bad. Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. Make a man out of you, all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, the usual stuff that you would expect. My dad, as time went on, my dad completely reevaluated his positions and all this stuff. But when I got onto the airplane, you know, and let's just as a brief aside, we're starting to let our hair grow. I doubt that my hair was an inch below my neck at that time. That's it got longer later.
Oh my God.
All that stuff from my dad. You look like a girl. I mean, all that nonsense. I mean, it was just a different time. Yeah, he was pretty repulsed by our positions, and when I got called for the draft, and I was declared 4F on psychological grounds. They figured and the Sarge at the recruiting
What's that
desk
mean?
or
What's
whatever.
that mean? 4F on psychological.
Yeah.
ground.
Well, that's a good question. But he said, "You'll never get another job. You'll never get a government job again." And I remember my wise ass comment was, "Promise."
Let's fucking go. I love that. I love it. So, what's crazy about it? So, did you do drugs before then? Like, you started this psychedelic band. Not
Yeah, that's funny stuff.
so. What happened?
I remember I didn't smoke pot till I was like 21 years old.
Wow.
And it was probably unbelievable. I mean, I remember that I was visiting. I was still at the University of Santa Clara, living in the dorm, and I went to San Francisco. Some of my pals that I went to school at Antioch College with were working in San Francisco and had apartments. I remember sitting in this basement apartment, no windows, dingy, smoking this incredible, horrible Mexican dirt weed. I remember because I never smoked pot, and I'm wondering, when is something supposed to happen? I mean, like the pot they sell probably in town here at the cannabis dispensary would probably like lobotomize most of us back in those days. But
My
it was,
dad said the same thing.
but I think the whole thing in the beginning of all that quote unquote drug nonsense was the camaraderie of having that secret that the straight world just couldn't possibly grok.
Yeah.
Right.
Yellow Springs is such a little hippie town in the middle of a very conservative. Dave Chappelle lives there now. That's where Dave lives.
Yeah, he has like a
Oh,
comedy.
it's nothing's changed.
So, are you
Yeah,
living in Yellow Springs?
Yeah, I was there for a couple of years. Yeah, it's like an alternative universe in Yellow Springs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that developed your identity as a free thinker?
I don't know about being a free thinker, but it certainly developed my identity as a musician because my last quarter there, I was on an off-campus house with this guy, Ian Buchanan. I'd been playing the guitar for a number of years before that, but I was not I didn't do the stuff I do now. And Ian was a close friend of Reverend Gary Davis and was an extremely accomplished fingerstyle guitar player. And for some reason, probably because he couldn't stand to hear me play, but he took me under his wing and basically taught me how to fingerpick, and that opened all the doors. So, when people started, I did a thing at Antioch College a couple of years ago where they had alumni coming back and just bullshitting and talking about stuff. And I told the story. I said, I didn't graduate from Antioch. Most people don't graduate from Antioch. But I said, but I learned what has defined my life at Antioch College, and what more could you want from any educational institution?
Right. Let's talk about Reverend Gary Davis. What did you love about him that made you want to emulate his style?
So, I think he was the music that he plays was so complete. Remember when I got turned on to the Rev by my buddy Ian, I'd never really heard any of that stuff before. In high school I wrote a term paper on Big Bill Brunsey, so I'd listen to some Brunsey, but it wasn't really my go-to stuff at that time. I was still just listening to current rock and roll, but there was just something, his I consider Reverend Davis a biophile. He was like a lover of life. I mean, he just grabbed it with both hands. I mean, here's a guy that had a disadvantaged life on so many levels, but you know, he had a really powerful life. And my doorway to the Reverend was through Ian Buchanan. Now, Reverend Davis, if you're a guitar geek, you know that Reverend Davis only plays with these two fingers.
Crazy.
But me and most of the guys of my ilk play with three, and because my friend Ian, he could do what the Reverend did too, but this just made more sense to me. So the Reverend's music inspired me, but the style of playing that became my own, I think was really a gift from Ian.
So tell me about your relationship with Ian then. When did you realize you guys are going to be best boys?
So I met Ian, like I said, I met him the spring quarter of 1960 at Antioch. And this is really interesting too. Ian's story it's worth looking up at some point because it doesn't have a happy ending. And but he was one of these guys. He was from a wealthy family. I think his mother was the editor of Vogue magazine or something like that. But he just didn't give a shit about any of that kind of stuff. And like when he was working gigs in the Village, because he was one of the big dogs there for a while, if the audience didn't listen to him, he would just walk out. He didn't care. He didn't care whether he got paid or not. It didn't matter.
That's awesome.
I love this guy.
Yeah. Well, most of us guys that play in front of people can't afford that luxury of,
Right.
Emotional dramatics. But
I need to settle.
but he just he just sort of like existed in his own odd little vacuum. And so anyway, so he took me under his wing, and I started learning what became my style. And then the next quarter I had was an extra work study thing, and I had this job in New York City, so I was there for 3 or 4 months that summer of what year was it? I guess 1960. And I was working as an attendant in the spinal cord damage hospital, which is why I don't like hospital shows today, by the way, because I know what all that stuff smells like.
Oh God, I was
But,
thinking about that. Oh,
I don't like
But
it either.
yeah, it's brutal. But with that being said, I met some great people at that gig. But anyway, so all I did really was go to work and hang with Ian and learn and play at the Hoots of Gertie's Folk City and try to get gigs. Me and a couple of my friends, we were working the Irish bar circuit there for a while. I mean, how weird is that, really? But
Jews and Irish, they have the same guilt, you know.
yeah, exactly, totally. But I think the Irish might have more fun. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah,
But,
they celebrate their guilt. I'm Jewish too. I feel my guilt. I
Yeah,
really feel-
exactly. So anyway, where were we? Oh yeah. So so I'm there. That's and hanging out. Got to meet the Rev. Got to watch him play. But I never studied with him like Bromberg and a lot of those guys did.
Yeah.
And as a result, I never really picked up. It seemed counterproductive for me to use these two fingers. And as a result of these three, there's lots of triplet figures in my music. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's
Yeah.
just like you got 3 fingers. What are you going to do? You're going to play a triplet roll.
You're gonna
It's
play.
just,
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, let's talk about the early years of the band. Like when you're starting getting a buzz, like when the Vultures are starting to show up, the record label guys and all these guys are wanting to blow you up. Do you remember the moment when the show and this is it? We're moving on to our next step.
Well, I think that the first time it really hit me was when was with the first Airplane album Takes Off, when we had a record contract, which didn't mean that much to me at the time. And one of the funny things is I had just recorded what was going to be a live album at a couple of the coffee houses in San Jose. In fact, actually, Wabash Avenue, which is available now, is that album this many years later. But anyway, that's what I was going to do. And I was thinking I'm going to move to Denmark. I'm going to be an expat American blues musician, whatever. So I hadn't thought about this stuff at all. So Cantor snookered me into showing up at the Airplane, and we wound up getting a record deal. So all of a sudden I'm in a real studio with a real producer, and it's like,
Holy shit.
what just happened? And I guess the good news from my point of view is, since I wasn't a featured vocalist in that band, they really let me alone pretty much. I think the vocalists like Paul and the gang had a lot of pressure on them to do the kind of harmonies that Rick Gerard, the producer, or Tommy Oliver for that first record, the producer thought that we should do in order to have a hit record, and they just completely let me alone. But I mean, it's like, I mean, here's this
How old were you?
folky, bluesy guitar geek from San Jose, and all of a sudden you're in a studio in LA with a producer that's like produced big stars.
What studio in LA were you? I'm from LA. Where'd you guys record at?
So we were at RCA, Sunset and Ivor.
Sick.
It's,
Oh,
it's
wow.
not an RCA building anymore,
No.
but and
an
they had
Erewhon.
the big
Erewhon?
room there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a bunch of the Sinatra sessions and stuff. I mean, it was like there's a lot of history in that studio.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. How old were you when you got the record deal?
So I guess, you think about, talented kids that come up today and get deals tend to be in their late 20s or late teens,
Yeah.
early 20s. So I was already 25 years old.
Oh, wow.
Which by today's pop standards is well over the hill.
I know. I got to stop writing pop songs.
Yeah.
So when you made Surrealistic Pillow, how old? Like, it's your second record, right?
Yeah, that was the second record, and that's, there's no question about it, that was a magic record for us in a lot of ways.
Was it easy to make?
And I always found it easy to work in the studio, and the airplane gang, for as unorganized as we could be, we were not unorganized about the music ever. We rehearsed relentlessly.
Yeah.
So we were pretty well prepared when we got into it. And then, when Takes Off was a 3-track recorder, no noise reduction.
Yeah.
So you could they would like ping pong back and forth and then mix it mono.
Oh my god.
And then Surrealistic Pillow was one of the first 4-track recordings. Whoa. But
What was the process like for
you
4-track
couldn't
recordings?
overdub a lot because they still didn't have Dolby and stuff like that. So you kind of had to really go for it if you were overdubbing because you couldn't put the tape up. But
What was isolation
I mean,
like
really,
for those 4
looking
tracks?
back on it, it was just such a gas to be in the studio doing this stuff that I thought, wow.
Yeah, it's like
And
yeah.
not being a lead vocalist. I remember when I first had to start singing in the studio, very self-conscious. Like I used to have to hold a guitar and pretend that I was playing so I could sing simultaneously.
interesting.
But playing guitar in the studio, loved it from day one.
Did you know that was going to be as big as a record as it was going to be? Like when you finished it?
Oh,
or-
the Pillow, you mean?
yeah.
I don't. I think that we felt. The simple answer is really no, because how can you think
Yeah, how
about
can
that?
Yeah, you can't predict. Well,
But we had a lot of momentum, and we had a lot of self-confidence. Hadn't even really started touring nationally yet. We'd done a couple gigs where we were really a national touring act. I think we always just really felt confident about our own mojo.
Yeah. I mean, you were the first real psychedelic band, I
Yeah.
think, rock band. Like
maybe them and the Dead, right?
them and the Dead. Yeah. What was?
I guess in a way. And let me ask you:
yeah.
when somebody says psychedelic music, what does that mean to you?
Oh, no, just music. I'm on tour. I'm like, what? I mean, it's
Stuff people that smoke weed.
it-
yeah,
like.
it's like
yeah,
it's it's like prude people saying, you're a hippie.
Yeah.
No, exactly. It's a weird term. We know what it means, but we can't really define it. Yeah, we know what. So I guess, I mean, if you think about the airplane, especially, never mind Takes Off, but Surrealistic Pillow is not, in my opinion, is not a psychedelic album.
No.
After Bathing at Baxter's, I would have to say is.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the reasons is keep in mind that when I first went in the studio, with Takes Off, I had owned electric guitars because I bought and sell guitars back in those days,
Yeah.
and boy, I wish I had some of those back. But that's another story.
What's one? What do you regret? Which one did you sell that you regret?
Oh, I had a beautiful all maple 1937 L5 Gibson L5.
Oh, my
Jesus. It's like, how much do you think it is now?
I sold it for $250.
Oh,
I thought I
my
made a killer
God.
Probably
deal.
worth 6 figures, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, so when we got into the studio to do Pillow, I had the Love and Spoonful came to town, and they played some bar up in North Beach. I forget what it was. We went to see them, of course. They Believe in Magic was a big hit. Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. And Zolly was playing one of those Guild Thunderbirds,
Yeah.
and it looked cool. So I got one,
Yeah.
and I guess I had it until I got my first 345. But I think the coolest thing about the Guild Thunderbird was, remember, it sort of had that sort of like shark shape. They had 2 points at the bottom of it, and then it had a stand that popped out of the back, so the guitar was its own stand.
I didn't know they had a
I
stand.
think that was the most innovative thing about that guitar. Because one of the other things about it was pretty much a standard 2 pickup guitar, but the pickup switch, it didn't have a toggle like most guitars have. It had 2 little pushy switches that were up by the upper horn. And if you're playing rock and roll and thrashing your hands around, the chances of hitting both of those switches and shutting your guitar off
Or bleeding out, you
Right.
know? How many times
came
have
to
you-
fruition more than once.
like a
oh my
jazz
god.
master.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Were those things are heavy too, right?
It's been a long time, but the answer is probably not as heavy as a Les Paul, but yeah, they were pretty heavy.
So what, all this so when Airplane's taken off, when did you feel like I'm over this? I don't want to do this anymore. What was the reason? Like, did you guys not like each other or what?
Yeah, I think a lot of things happened. The airplane thing, like I said, the airplane thing was a blast, and in the beginning, we rehearsed relentlessly. A couple times we actually lived together, which was another story for another time. We really were unified in purpose, and I think that as time went on, we lost that sort of communal sense of band living that requires that you really be young and free in a lot of ways to make it work. And I think that at some point, I mean, to oversimplify it, everybody just wanted their own place,
Yeah.
And when we weren't hanging around together all the time, we didn't have that sort of a constant gestalt identity that really made it so easy to always be the Airplane.
Yeah, the brotherhood.
And I, yeah.
yeah,
You
And
were saying?
sisterhood.
and sisterhood. Yeah, I mean, it's like that's the thing. Being in a band, I've had band members for 15 years, and I've had to make a couple changes, and I think that camaraderie of hanging out. The minute you stop hanging out, the minute we kind of lose that connection in the band, right?
I agree. Absolutely. So, as soon as, I'm not sure any of us are really growing up yet at that point, but some people were starting families and stuff like that. And,
Were you married
you're not
yet?
going to go hang out. You're not going to take your 2-year-old to the bar and hang out.
Yeah. I feel that. Were you married yet?
I was. That's an interesting story in and of itself. My ex-wife Margareta, sad to say, passed away a number of years ago. But it's like I was married, and it was an interesting. There's a story in and of itself because both of us remained really good friends long after we got divorced. We probably never should have gotten married, but we did, and that's how the deal was. But I was gone almost all the time anyway, so.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What about like the way their music changed when they came back as Jefferson Starship? When you heard that, were you kind of glad you quit, or did you kind of want to be?
Well,
Because they changed like a more of a glam rock.
My running gag about that is I always quit the band right before they make the big money. so I guess, I mean, at the time I probably had some bullshit self notion about, well, we don't, we're really purists here and whatever nonsense I might have thought at the time. I mean, because who wants to be playing an unpopular band? But it just wasn't my thing. It just wasn't my thing.
Right.
And, I remember talking to Paul about it and just saying, well, I mean, good job, buddy. I mean, all of a sudden, because he was always the same Paul Cantor, all of a sudden he's in a major top 40 band.
Right.
Yeah.
And you felt no jealousy, or did you in a little bit of like, because did you have money back then, or
Nah.
were you not were you broke or like what?
No, I've been broke a couple times, but it's happened rarely. I mean, I was always everything always worked out for me. Like even before I got in the band,
Yeah.
I was coming out of school. I was teaching guitar. I was making more money playing teaching music at the Benner Music Company in San Jose than like for the first 6 months of the Jefferson Airplane. I was still driving down to San Jose to teach.
So do you think with Starship blowing up, do you think that put a fire on your ass to like really blow up Hot Tuna?
Well, you know, too bad we couldn't snooker Jack. I was just talking to him before you guys came online. You know, Jack and I just love to play, and I can't remember, because we have a lot of business interests in common today that requires every now and then meeting with accountants and stuff like that. We had none of that back in those days.
Yeah.
And so we never stepped on each other's toes. We never really had a band meeting. We just enjoyed hanging out and playing music together. And when, for whatever reason, that dissipated for a while, we never quit being friends. And then we came back together again. And I remember thinking, why did we quit playing together? Nobody can even remember why.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Really, I'm not kidding.
I got some friendships like that.
I have friendships like that too.
Yeah.
It's like, what happened? Yeah. So tell me about Hot Tuna.
I think life just happens sometimes,
Yeah.
and that's just the way it is. Anyway, what were you saying?
Then when you started Hot Tuna, tell me about that. What was the process like of making your first records and what your approach to the sound was and what you wanted to be,
Sure.
like your identity? Give me a little bit of Hot Tuna love.
So the airplane, towards the end of the airplane's existence and the beginning of Hot Tuna, the airplane just wasn't. Jack and I just really loved to tour and to play, and the airplane just, Paul and Grace and Spencer, they just didn't want to work that much and whatever, So it wasn't fulfilling, and not only weren't we working that much, but we were no longer playing together like 5 times a week like we did in the day. So we needed to do something. So I remember we before we did the first Hot Tuna record, the Live at New Orleans House, we had a bunch of different incarnations of what would ultimately become Hot Tuna. A bunch of my friends, we put together electric bands, did some gigs, had some acoustic stuff, and just kind of wandered around through the woods trying to find our way. And when we had an opportunity, excuse me, to do a record for RCA, which was a big deal.
That's
I mean,
fucking
to do a
huge.
record with a major label back in those days.
Right.
And we got to thinking about, because we've been doing some electric stuff too, but at the time, it just seemed to make sense to go back to what Jack and I had been doing in hotel rooms,
Right.
and occasionally doing an opening thing for the airplane, or just going to a bar after a show and playing. And that was what acoustic Hot Tuna became. And we had done that for so many years. We were so rehearsed for that record,
Yeah.
I think it's the 2 songs that I wrote on it, Man's Fate, not Man's Fate, I'm brain fart. But anyway, the 2 original Jorma songs on that record. Other than that, we'd been playing all those songs for years, and so all we had to do is get a performance. And we recorded, I think, for 4. I'd have to look up the protocols on this, 4 or 5 nights, and we just had a lot of great takes and just picked the hot takes.
How do you feel a song is going to make the record? When do you know that this song over other ones are going to make it?
That's a luxury that people that write and have a lot of songs can make.
Yeah. yeah.
No, you're laughing, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I
It's
get
Yeah,
like-
I'm laughing because it's true. Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I'll write 30 songs and
So we just, I do write, but I'm not a prolific writer. So every time that I wrote something or came up with something, it got on a record. I mean, the same thing was true back in the earlier days with the airplane. Like I said, I was just really a fledgling writer, but every time I wrote something, Paul and Grace said, we got to put this on the record. And I'm going, well, I don't know. Like Embryonic Journey,
Yeah.
It's like, I thought it was the worst idea ever.
Yeah.
Turned out to be a pretty good idea.
Pretty good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to go back a little bit to the drug stuff. I hear that you
Sure.
talk about opiates being such a creative drug. Can you explain that?
No, I don't think it's a creative drug. Did I say that? Because that doesn't sound like a Yorma saying.
No, or just like you got into opiates, like like I was.
Well, so I think that, I mean, honestly, it's like, look, as a recovering alcoholic and addict, when you talk about this, it's like somebody goes, well, basically what it was like. I go, look, and I apologize to the women listening here. Put a tourniquet on your hand. When your arm gets numb, jerk off. It'll feel like somebody else is doing it.
Yeah, I guess
Really,
that totally hear.
I mean, that's kind of how. That's kind of how it was for me.
Yeah, I
Um,
totally hear you.
and so, and I will say, from the point of recovery, because, I started. Yeah, again, my parents with their gig, they always had these cocktails, parties, and shit and stuff. So, I probably started drinking when I was like 12 or 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wasn't a huge leap to taking drugs. Um, back in the day, I preferred uppers rather than downers, but that's just how it was.
Yeah.
But and so when I finally got clean, it was like, honestly, I had to learn how to do everything straight again. Because
Wow.
I'd been basically high for most of my life. So it was an interesting thing. So if I'm going to a meeting or one of those things now, one of the guys comes in and starts complaining about this, I go, if you hang on long enough, you get used to the fact that things are different. Anyway,
That's
so I mean, it
beautiful,
was just
actually.
part of my
Yeah.
life for a long time, and when I got out of it, that was gone.
Yeah, that's
I'm really
actually.
lucky, and guys that are recovering will appreciate this. I have no euphoric recall whatsoever. It's not like, boy, did I have a good time. I have none of that, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Do you remember? Speaking of uh, getting clean. What was the moment that made you want to get clean?
Wow, I mean, it's that classic AA thing where you get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Mm.
It's just, life was just starting to be a drag, it
Yeah.
really, in every respect. And, using just kind of made you quasi normal. You never really had high moments anymore. I mean, honestly, it was just time. I heard the knock on the door, and I had enough sense to get up off my ass and open it.
No, that's beautiful. What do you as we're talking about some of these tough moments of your life, do you remember your biggest heartbreak in life? What do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh boy, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Well, nobody's ever asked me that before. Um, I guess. Wow. I guess. I guess that I can't think of a big heartbreak in my life back in the day because life was just like a flowing river. I guess. I guess when my father died in the mid '90s. And I realized that at that moment, I realized that we're all really mortal. I'm not, I don't think heartbreak's the right word, but it certainly opened a door to perceiving life in a different way. And then a year or so later, my mom passed away. My brother and I were actually with her when she passed. It was, I told my brother, I said, all things considered, I would have rather been having dinner with her, but it was an honor to be a part of the process.
Yeah, I bet, man. That's very tough. Like, what was the change of consciousness once you saw your father pass away?
I guess I mean, in that moment, it's hard to remember what things were like when you're younger because I'm not young anymore. But I think basically speaking, I just kind of thought that things would go on forever.
Yeah.
Like you think that the magic of Jefferson Airplane would go on forever, or well, whatever, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then for having something that puts such a final exclamation point to the sentence, after which there are no more paragraphs, it's just like, okay, I see what's going on here.
It is lasting forever. Hot tuna, baby. We're going. We're still cooking.
Yeah. Newport.
Yeah, we have, well, and and then there's that, and then there's that.
There's also that.
I mean, you outlasted
Yeah.
all your contemporaries. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we've lost a lot of good ones this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, look, that's the way the cookie crumbles, But like I said, I was just talking to Jack a couple of minutes ago before before we logged in together here, and we sort of touched on some of these things. He and I are so thrilled excuse me, so thrilled to not only just be alive, but to be in a state where we can enjoy stuff and still do what it is that we really love to do, which is
Yeah.
to play music.
Yeah, and you're not like shitting yourself on stage, or maybe you are. I don't know, but like you're taking you're enjoying the process. Like I think about like how I destroy my body, and like it'd be a blessing if I could play music and tour till I'm 85. It's
Yeah, I mean,
it's beautiful.
I mean, really, yeah, I hear you. I agree with you. How good does it have to get? I mean, look, I mean, you're not playing music right now, but you're obviously doing something you like to do.
Yeah, I get to
I mean,
talk to
think
legends like
about-
you, Jorma. It inspires
Yeah,
me to keep
I mean,
going.
People at my mom and dad's generation that just wanted to live long enough so they could retire and start enjoying life. And
Right.
what a drag that would be.
Yeah.
Right. And I think about that too. Like people start following their dreams when they retire, which doesn't make sense to me. It's like, why can't we live now?
No, it really doesn't make sense. And I guess if we had some of that generation was still alive to talk to, it'd be like, well, we got through the war, and we had to raise our children, do all this kind of stuff. I mean, listen, we're able to. I mean, fortunately, I don't need to worry about going to war. I'm way up. They're not going to be drafting me.
You never know.
Yeah,
But,
the way
but
things
like
are
I
going,
said,
they're drafting all of us.
I do
here.
have a 19-year-old daughter. I'm concerned about her and stuff like that. But it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, really, how good does it have to get?
Jorma, thank you so much for your time, man. You are an inspiration. You're a legend. This conversation makes us want to keep going as musicians and tour until we're 85.
Well, let's like, yeah, I know. It's like Tommy Emmanuel said, what else are you going to do? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, like, guys like us that are able to do this kind of thing. Again, like I said several times in this conversation, how good does it have to get?
Right. And when you get out of the bus, have someone drive for you, Jorma. You don't need to drive anymore. You're a rock star, okay? Don't let anyone. You hire I'll fucking drive you
I
around.
love
Jorma.
driving.
I do too.
So I'm
actually.
not going to bore you with this because it's not an exciting car to look at, but I like cars and motorcycles. I got a
Yeah.
bunch of those kind of toys, but I've got in my driveway right now. I've got a two-door Jeep Wrangler because I live in the
love
country and I can play with things like that. But the car that I really like, again, it's not a sexy car, but it's a couple years old. It's a Jeep Grand Cherokee with
Hell
every
yeah.
friggin' gadget that they can think
God.
about.
Take
Like
that
I
shit
can
on the
push a
road,
button
baby.
and it raises itself up 6 inches. And like I said, it's not like having a Corvette or something like that. But I love this car, and I can throw all my shit in the back of it.
Right.
Yeah, take that baby on the road. We don't need a tour bus, Jorma. All we need is a badass Jeep, baby.
Yeah, I don't mind driving. And actually, since you mentioned that, a couple of years ago, I had a Jeep Unlimited, a 4-door Wrangler, and me and my buddy Myron, he's my neighbor and my guitar tech. We took that Unlimited on the road several times, and I got to tell you, that 500 miles in a Jeep is not a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
No,
you
you're right
you
about
look
that.
good,
They get-
you
yeah,
look
the-
good doing it, but
Oh, dude, that Wrangler. You're like,
Yeah.
I have a house in Todos Santos, Mexico, and those roads do not.
The novelty wears
Oh,
off.
the novelty wears off when you don't have suspension anymore on your
I
on
hear
your
ya.
whip. Well, keep the dream alive, Jorma. I got one last question. I'll let you go.
sure.
When
Fire away.
when it's all said and done, what do you want to be remembered by?
Oh boy, well, I guess my answer to that is pretty boilerplate for the first place, and it's to be remembered as a good father to my kids. That's really important to me. But aside from that, I used to say being able to turn so many people on to Reverend Gary Davis in my life,
Nice.
and now over the years, a lot of people have been turned on to Davis. So what is my new goal? I guess just to be able to continue to play music because I like playing for people. Yeah, I play at home all the time. Of course I do.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy being on stage and to be able to do that as long as I can.
Well, God damn it! Look at this
it
inspiration.
is.
What a legend. Thanks, Jorma. You're the best. And
What a guy.
I'm gonna come to a tuna show. You guys ever play in Denver?
We just did Denver fairly recently. We did the Paramount.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
but
cool.
but since you know how to get a hold of us. I know she's lurking back there somewhere.
She's
Lucy,
there.
I know
There
you're
she
there.
is, Lucy.
That's me. I'm
So,
the lurker.
Hey, Lucy. Thank you so much for this.
anytime we're doing a show and you need to come, you want to see it,
All right,
just
bring
get
it
a
on.
hold of Lucy and be our guest.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, sir. We'll keep rocking the good fight and yeah, keep following your dreams. I mean, it's so inspiring. Later, buddy.
Yeah, brother.
Thank you.
What a
That
guy.
was great. Thanks, Jorma.